Just a few breaths to just ground yourself down. So let's just take 3 breaths. Just have your arms by your side. And one more breath here. Perfect. Okay, we're just going to take some spinal rolls. So let's just take chin to chest. We'll let the shoulders kind of roll forward. Let the arms start to dangle. Soften the knees. And think about each vertebra of the spine starting to curl down one at a time, very slowly. Take your time to get down, and then when you feel like you can just sort of hang from the hips, you can even rest your belly on your thighs if you like. You can cross your arms. You can take a little sway side to side. You can let go of like the muscles in your neck, give your head a little yes and no shape. You can do a little transfer of weight forward and back slightly. Just really release. Alright, and if you're holding onto your elbows, just let them go. And we're going to very slowly roll back up through the spine, stacking the spine on top of each other as we come up, making sure the head comes up to last, shoulders come back. We're going to do one more spinal roll once you've finished that one. Take your time. When you're ready to come down, you can go at your own pace. Make sure knees are soft. Feel still grounded into the floor. Thinking about the spine, mostly here. When you get to the bottom, if you need to do a nice little release in the head, let the shoulders relax down to the ears. You can do a sway, transfer, whatever you like. Alrighty. Cool. So if you're holding onto your elbows, let them go. From this kind of folded position, we're going to start to incorporate some muscles. So let's walk out the hands. Walk to the very end of your mat into a plank. See if you can just hold this plank just for a tick. Take a nice breath here. Cool, and then you can just pop your knees on the floor. Beautiful. Okay, let's make our way onto our side. So maybe just facing the window over here. We're going to have our knees bent. Hopefully you can see me. Knees bent, and then you're going to hold on to your head. So one elbow is pointing to the ceiling, the other one is on the floor, and you can have your legs wherever is comfortable. So essentially what we're doing here is connecting our movement to our breath, which is a big part of Pilates. So we're going to take a nice inhale while we're lying like this. Then as you exhale, we're going to draw this elbow back behind you to take a nice spinal twist. The aim is to get almost your shoulders to the floor without moving much of your legs. And then an inhale to come up. How do we go with that? So we've got inhale to kind of like prepare yourself, inhale. Exhale, take this twist, keeping the legs and the hips the same, but the upper body is twisting. Inhale to come up. We're going to do maybe 1 or 2 more, let's do 2 more on this side, and then we're going to transfer to the other side. Make sure you're connecting your breath to this movement. Inhale to come up, exhale to come down. You can take it at your own pace. Let's go for 1 more on this side. Beautiful breathing. Okay, coming up on this next one, and then let's make our way just onto our back, and then you can just shuffle yourself across the other side, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So knees bent in, one elbow pointing up, one elbow on the floor. We're going to inhale to prepare, and then an exhale to draw the shoulders towards the floor. And the thing you can think about with this one is kind of think about using the whole exhale breath for the whole like lowering movement. So that's another one that will help us during the class today. Nice, and like you should kind of end up, once you exhale, when your shoulders are on the floor, you end up with like no breath left, so then you only have to inhale to come up. Okay, maybe just taking one more little spinal twist here. Good, and then once you have done that, you can just make your way back onto to start our core work soon, but we've got a few things to kind of like go through to get a little bit of awareness around the body and how it's working when you're doing Pilates. So this is called a supine position, which is on your back. Your feet are flat on the ground, and to start with, we're actually going to take our hands and take a little feel. So I want you to just pop your hands on like, okay, on a piece of wood. So like on the sides of your ribs, almost like up into the armpits a little bit, so you can feel the sides of your rib cage. So what we're doing here is lateral breathing. So we're going to breathe in. If you do yoga, you usually breathe in and lift the belly, right? This time we're going to see if we can expand the rib cage. So you're going to inhale. Your hands should kind of come out a little bit. Feel the rib cage open, and then exhale, draw the rib cage back in. Yeah. So I kind of think about like my rib cage almost like two doors, and then when you inhale, they slightly open, and then when you exhale, the two doors close, right? Yeah. And this is called lateral breathing, which we want to do in Pilates. So we don't want to think about the breath going into the belly, we want to think about it going up into the ribs. Not necessarily chest, but laterally, just sideways. Cool, okay. So thinking, trying to be mindful of that as we go through the class today. Let's pop, okay, I'm going to stand so you can see. So we're going to take two fingers. You're going to pop them like on your hip bones, so the bony part. You can probably feel around for it. Okay, so we're going to go draw the, so you're going to go down slightly and then in a little bit. Hopefully you can feel that. Okay, so this point is kind of where you can feel your deep abdominal muscles. So I need you to press pretty firmly in there. And then we're going to take a nice lateral inhale. As you exhale, see if you can start to engage the muscles that you're pushing on. You might not be able to feel it straight away, but don't stress. Lots of yawns because we're doing nice breathing, I love it. Okay, so we want to feel, you can take your hands off of that point if you need to right now. So I want you to draw a line. So you've got your two hip bones that you started with, right? Draw a line from one point of the, one hip bone to the other. Okay, and then from there you've got your pubic bone. You don't have to touch it if you don't want to. We're going to go from there up to the belly button. Okay, so we have a line going across, a line going up, which makes a T. So that's our T zone. What we're going to think about is the deep abdominal muscles that you just felt, our transverse abdominis, like a corset running in together towards your belly button, right? And then at the same time, this lift up is your pelvic floor. Hopefully you all know roughly what your pelvic floor is. And the lifting up is like a stopping yourself from going to the toilet kind of feeling. Okay, so maybe pop your fingers back where they were. We're going to go for inhale laterally through the ribs. Exhale, see if you can imagine drawing in a corset, lifting the pelvic floor at the same time on your exhale. Think about that nice engagement deep in the core. You can have your hands on your belly if that helps, but yeah. Cool, nice. Alright, so now that we have that, if I ever say to switch on your T-zone, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah? See if you can remember that as we go. So you can just pop your hands by your side for now. We're going to go into a tabletop position. So the alignment for this one is your knees and your hips are in line, and your knees and your feet are in line as well. So it's a right angle. Okay, cool. From here, we're going to take one leg down at a time. You want to keep the leg in the same right angle, going down, tap the floor, and then coming up to the same spot. We're going to do alternating legs. And that T-zone activation that I just talked about, can you be mindful of it? Cool. I'm going to go through the breathing with this one now, so it might be a little different to how you're doing it now, so just try and work with me. So we're going to go for an inhale when the legs are together, exhale when you're moving a leg. Nice, so inhale when they're together, exhale when you're moving it. When you're moving it is kind of like the hardest part of the exercise, right? That will help our core engage a little bit more. So you've got your knee and hip. And then knee well. I can definitely hear that. Okay, I'm going to give you a little option to make it a bit harder. So, if you need to rest at any point in time, you can do that. If you need to do it now, you can. You can tell that you've all got that nice core engagement. We're going to go from this same tabletop position. You can either do this same as what we were just doing, single leg. If you're going to take it up a notch, we're going to try and take both down at the same time. Both tap the floor, both come up. And remember to keep that nice alignment, knees and hips in line when you come up. If you need to think a little bit less about your alignment, you might want to squeeze your legs together, that might help. But this is adding a bit more load. Because we're taking 2 legs and not 1, it's going to feel a bit harder. So if you want to take 1, you can totally take 1. But if you want a challenge, you can take 2. You don't have to think about pointing your toes or whatever, that's no stress at all. Is everyone still thinking about that T-zone activation? Thinking about that?
Is it meant to be wobbling? Because
Wobbling?
Yeah.
It might mean that your core isn't super stable right now, but thinking more about this and grounding yourself down.
So keeping it back.
Yeah, and if you need to, you can put your hands underneath the hip. That might help, yeah. Let's do just 2 more of these double leg toe taps. They're looking great. Well done, guys. Is everyone feeling it in the core? Yeah. Okay, sweet. Good, good. That's what we want. Okay, once you've done your last one, you can just pop the feet back on the floor. Let's just move. We're just going to do one more little core exercise and then we won't do any more core, okay? So let's pop our hands underneath our head. I want you to think about, right, okay. This is what I would say. If your head is on holiday, your hands are a hammock. Right? Okay, so I want you to think about all the weight of your head going into your hands. So slightly lift your head off the floor and feel the weight of your head in your hands. Right? This, hopefully, will take out the strain in your neck and your chest. So we need to we're going to do some curl-ups, by the way, sorry to tell you. So I want you to think about, as we lift head and shoulders off the floor slowly, to think about weight of the head and the hands so that you don't go with your neck to come up, because we want this to go into our core, right? So let's take a few curl-ups, so just head and shoulders as much as you can, and it doesn't have to be full on or anything, not a full sit-up, just a little crunch. Think about, yes, weight of head and hands slowly coming up. Let's do a couple here. So we've got head and shoulders coming off the floor, and your head is on holiday. Taking the strain out of the neck and the chest to then put the effort into your core muscles, right?
Is it breathing out as we're going up?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me. Yes, good thinking. Okay, just like Maddie said. Exhale as you curl up. Think about as well with your breath, right? An exhale breath is going to be what you use for the hardest movement. The hardest movement right now is to get up, right? And that's what you're going to use to activate your core muscles. Nice. Okay. Let's do 2 more. I want you to think about these 2, that you've got an imaginary lemon or egg underneath your chin, which means that you can't bring your chin into your chest. You have to have a little bit of space. Nice. Shaking means that it's working, by the way, just so you know. Good job. If you're worried about shakes, don't worry, it means it's working.
I'm a weak should.
Good job.
I need to do Pilates.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, once you've done your last one, so you've probably done more than 2, well done. We might do one little extra add-on to this. So if you're still thinking about your curl-ups, you can still do that. But we're going to add in our hands, okay? So we're going to take a curl-up. You're going to let go of your head. Reach them towards your, by the sides of your thighs. You can then put them back behind your head and then put the head on the floor. So, yes, so come up, reach, back to the head, come down.
How are we still sitting up the same amount as we were?
If you can, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So, see if you can hold the curl up when you reach, hold it in place. And you can probably tell straight away, right? As soon as you let go of your head, it's in the neck. See if you can think about that softening, even when you let go. You could probably bring, I know that you're thinking about the lemon thing, you could probably bring your chin a little bit further, because you do have to, your head is quite heavy. Yeah, that's good, why not? Okay, cool. Okay, let's just leave curl up. So you did a great job, well done, guys. Alright, let's make our way onto our bellies. You might need to be careful
Who's facing which way?
Yeah, so maybe if Adrian come like that way so you don't hit these guys.
What? Sorry.
So head on this side. Actually, maybe you as well, yes. So head on this side, yes. And you can stay there. Yes, cool. So, when you're lying on your belly, it's called prone. Not that that's really important to you guys, but it is for me. Alright, so we're going to start on our bellies with our arms, if you can get them, out in front of you. If it's too much like right out in front, you can take them like to a small V shape. Okay. So what we're doing here is taking just your nose, so it's hovering off the mat. So we don't want to smush it on the ground. It's just hovering. Okay, I want you to think that from your hips down is relaxed. So the way that I relax it is just a gentle little like wriggle side to side. Okay, lower body is like relaxed completely. So we're going to activate here our back muscles and our shoulder muscles. So we're going to lift just your chest, your arms and your chest off the floor, and then put it back down, still hovering the nose when you put it back down. Okay, so the first one that you might have done, you might have just like kind of squeezed the glutes a little bit, that's okay, but let's see if next time you can think about relaxing the lower part of your body so that we can isolate our back muscles, our shoulder blades into each other, working all those shoulder muscles. Nice. Try and keep your arms by your ears if you can. Let's do one more of these. See if you can hold it at the top for like a little second longer. Nice. Okay. The breath for these, by the way, is whatever you feel works best for you. So my personal opinion is an inhale, come up, exhale, come down, but you can do the opposite if you like. Okay, this is where we might need to be careful of our neighbours. We're going to take our arms like out to a T shape, but you can, if you haven't got enough room, you can maybe like do a cactus arm like bent. Yeah, so T or like this one. Okay, cool. So same sort of thing, lifting the upper body. Maybe with this one, I want you to see if you can think about the squeeze of your shoulder blades together, your scapula going into each other and coming down. So same action, arms are in a different spot. I might come around and just pop my finger in the middle of your like upper back. See if you can squeeze my finger. Yeah, nice. Good job. Okay, you ready? Squeeze my finger. Nice. Yes. Good job. Nice. Looking great, everyone. Let's do one more. Is everyone lower body relaxed too? Just a reminder. Good. Okay, and lucky last one for this belly lying prone position. We're going to have our arms by our side with the palms facing the ceiling. Okay, so this one I want you to think about it in a couple different stages. So again, lower part of your body's relaxed. We're going to think about first lifting the head. Then I want you to think about that squeeze of the shoulder blades, which is lifting the shoulders up towards the ceiling, then lifting the arms up, so palms reaching up to the ceiling. And then everything calming down. Still with the nose hovered. So we have head lifts, shoulders roll up to the ceiling, palms reach to the ceiling. Nice. It's almost like you're like flying. Feels like it sort of. This one is where we sometimes incorporate the glute squeeze. If you want to like really take it a bit further, you can incorporate a squeeze of the glutes. Good. We want to see if we can keep a neutral spine with this. Marty's got a really nice neutral spine there. Sorry, can't really see. So it's keeping the gaze like towards your mat instead of in front of you. So make sure you can keep looking like maybe like the top of your mat. That's great. Let's do one more of these ones. Feeling it?
Breakfast.
Oh, breakfast. Well done. Cool. Well done. All right. How about we take a child's pose? So just bending through the knees, you can sit your bum back towards your heels and just have a nice stretch. Give you a little rest. If you need a drink, you can have one. And then we're going to move on to some more like glute work. So we're going to work on glute max, glute meads, all sorts of fun stuff. Alright, if you need a drink, you can totally have one. I'm going to give you a little time. Cool. Okay, let's do it. Drink time or stretch if you want one. Feeling it? Cool. Yes, yes. You're doing great.
Great stretch.
Okay. Alright. So, when we're ready, we're going to make our way back onto supine position. Do you remember what that one was? Test time.
Of that.
Yeah! I didn't expect you to remember that. So, on your back.
You did just say that we're going to go back to our backs. So.
That's true. Oh, yeah, I did say that. Forgot. Okay. So this time while on our back, we're going to work our glute max, which is like the biggest part of your bum muscles, right? You probably wouldn't know that, I'm assuming. Okay, so feet are going to be like, make sure they're not too far away from you, so kind of bring them a little bit closer in towards your bum. I'm going to make sure they're nice and grounded on the floor. Okay, so arms are going to be by your side. See if you can get the palms to face the ceiling instead of the floor, because we don't want to use the floor, like we don't want to use our arms on the floor to help us. We want them to be relaxed, okay? So let's just go into it, and I'll kind of explain it as we go. So does everyone know like your hip flexor muscles? So they go from like, they're like these ones that help you like lift your knee. So those ones, I want you to think about them lifting up into your ribs, and it kind of tucks your pelvis under. So that, that's good, you got it. Okay. So that one is that's the first thing that I want you to do here. And then you're going to see if you can, you don't have to take the fuel, but there's like two little sit bones in your bum, the bones in your bum. You know the ones that really hurt if you sit down on the floor too long? Okay, those ones, there's muscles around there that you can engage, that are deep glute muscles, right? So if you can engage them without a squeeze, right? So while you're lying down, think about the two sit bones. Think about the engagement there, and it's not like a squeeze of your bum. It's like a really deep engagement of the muscles around the sit bones. So we have the tuck of the pelvis, lifting the hip flexors up into your ribs, the deep engagement of your glutes, and then we're going to lift the hips up, 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 up. We end up in a glute bridge. So this position, you're going to come down and up. So you can go in your own pace. See if you can roll up and down through your spine. And I'll keep talking about this position. So as we come up, we end up in this kind of like, think about it like a ski slope. So you've got your knees, and there's a ski slope going all the way down your body towards your shoulder. So it can't be, if you guys have, I think you guys have done yoga before. Yoga, we've got like this big old like wheel position where it's like a rounded like curve. And when you think about a flat line from your knees to your shoulders. How are we going? No?
But not I'm like engaging the right muscles.
So if your bum's feeling it, you are.
Okay.
And you probably will also feel it in your hamstring muscles. Maybe you guys can feel it. Those ones are the ones at the back of your legs.
Should we be resetting that pelvis or maintaining that position?
So
the
when
whole
you
time?
when you get down, you can relax.
Yeah.
And then
reset.
when you go to the exercise again,
engage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got that nice shoulder down. Nice. See, guys, if you keep your, I didn't actually say this so you wouldn't have noticed. Everyone. So think about like train tracks, right? You've got your hip bones that we were pointing out before, your knees and your feet are all train tracks. You can open your knees slightly at the top, but think about them staying in that same like, yeah, nice, that's it. Good. Beautiful, these are looking schmick. Well done. Okay, what we're going to do is take it up a little bit. Maybe Andrew can bring your feet in a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to hold the bridge. See if you can hold it in that spot. Try not to like flare your chest open too much so you can close the ribs. We've got that nice ski slope. Okay, I want you to transfer all of your weight, hear me out, to one leg, and then all of the weight to the other leg, but you're not allowed to show me that you're doing that. So you want to disguise the transfer of weight from side to side. You'll probably feel one glute max muscle, the biggest bum muscle, activate. And then the other one, yeah, exactly, relaxing.
Could we think of it as like I'm about to try to lift the other foot off the ground?
Yes, transfer of weight. You didn't let me see that transfer of weight, so it's not like a big movement. But you've got all the weight into one leg, and then we're going to see if we can just pick up the other one, just to that, doesn't have to be crazy fancy, and then pop it back down. Then transfer your weight back to this leg without letting me see to lift the other one. Yeah? See if we can try those. So holding the glute bridge, holding it there, and if you want to, you can take it down, take it back up to reset if you're struggling. Woohoo! And this one, when you keep it up for longer, you might feel like your bum start to really like lower a bit. So see if you can keep that nice ski slope. Looking good! Sorry, so good. Nice. Well done. Can we do one more? You guys are actually smashing this. Well done. Good. All right. Pop your back on the floor. Let's just take the knees in for a nice squeeze. You can maybe take some like circles with the legs to relax. Maybe you want to, yeah. You can take anything you want here. Whatever feels good. You might even want to take a little stretch, but we got more to do. Okay, so we're going to move on. So we've worked our glute max muscles, those big ones. We're now going to work the ones that are like more on the side, our glute knees. So let's all shift ourselves to a side lying position. I might stay here for a little bit and I might come and help you when we get into it. There's just a lot of like alignment stuff that we have to do for this position because gravity is kind of like working against us and we need to find a neutral spine. So your arm is going to be long, your head is resting on your arm, and what we need straight away to find is a neutral spine, which is a nice long straight line from your fingertips running down your body so that your hand, head, shoulders, hips, and then your foot, the top foot particularly, is in line. Feet, shoulders and hips is probably the most important thing that needs to be in line. I can come and check you and I'll fix you if you need. And it's hard to like see yourself. So you can bend your bottom leg in, just so you can get a little bit more balance, and your top hand can be on the floor. The other thing we just need to check is that we have a neutral spine with our pelvis. So do you guys all know kind of roughly where your pelvis is? Yes? Okay, so when you pop your hand on your hip, like you're like a model. Okay, so you're going to push your hip towards your feet this way. That will slightly lift the side body off the floor, just like a tad this much. So that is finding our neutral spine here in our pelvis. So I personally like to keep my hand on my hip so I can keep reminding myself of that position, but again, you can pop it on the floor. Some people like to slide their hand like underneath the side body because then if you feel like the weight go back into your hand, you can think about lifting it slightly. And then the only other thing, actually let's just start moving and then I'll keep talking. So what we're doing is just a very, doesn't have to think about height at all. We're going to go through just a lift and lower of this top leg. We're going to stick with the leg in a parallel, which means that the knee faces this window in front of us the whole time. It doesn't open out towards like that way. It stays facing this way, which will then really target and isolate that muscle on the side. You probably already feel it. Okay, so the other thing I was just going to say is making sure when you're lying on your side, you don't want like your belly and your chest to flare forward. So see if you can like kind of close this, keep that T-zone activation, just like keep it engaged. You don't have to like full on like and then just make sure that your chest, that rib open close door thing, keep that close. Are we feeling it in that side? Yeah? Cool. Nice. And again, it doesn't matter what your feet are doing. Actually, a couple of you. So, okay, I'm going to talk about this. So, just notice. I want to think about, right, this is a weird analogy. Actually, no, I've got a better one. Okay, don't worry about moving, I'm just going to talk about this. You are a kebab, okay? And there's the kebab stick, right? And it goes through you, you're the meat. The stick goes through you, right? And it needs to go through both hips. So I'm just going to adjust you so you can bring it over there. So then when the stick goes down, it goes through both.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So if one hip is like falling behind, you need to bring it right on top so the stick goes through both. Does that make sense? Yeah, nice. with your leg, with your foot. And then just think about all that alignment I was saying before, closing the ribs, keeping the core engaged. You might start to feel a little bit off balance, and you can put your hand on the floor if you need to. Good. Can we reverse the circle? You feel it? Trying to keep it at the same level. Good. Nice. Well done. Okay, pop that leg down, have a quick rest. We're going to do, this is like one of the traditional Pilates exercises, but we're going to do it in like a tame way. So the first guy that created Pilates, he did this side kick, and it was like a full-on like bang, bang, like really crazy. We're going to do it slower and more controlled, and that's kind of going to isolate the muscles a little bit more. So we're going to take a couple of your neighbours. We're going to go for that same lift and holding it in that same position that you were at, keeping it at the same level. We're going to point the toes as you bring the leg forward, keeping it at the same level, flex the foot, so draw the toes inwards. Draw the heel behind you. Don't go too far that you end up off balance and lifting your hip back. And then point forward, flex back. You can incorporate your breathing here where you go for an inhale going forward, exhale going back. Don't go too far back that you don't stress it out. Oh, wait, we're getting cut off, sorry.
She's burning.
Oh yeah, we love the burn. Is it feel it? Yes, exactly. That's exactly what he says to it. Alright, let's just do one more forward and back. You're doing great.
Painful burn.
You're like, I'm so hungry.
Yeah, not been used in a while.
Okay, well done. So, what we're doing here is coming to all fours, but the leg that was on top, we're going to remember that leg. So, let's all just go onto all fours, but the leg that you were just using, keep it behind you.
I can remember because it's screaming at me.
Okay.
Oh, I feel that.
So all fours, you can remember the leg you were just using. Okay, great. Let's go all fours then. We'll pop out, make sure with the alignment here you have your wrists and shoulders in the same line. So if you're too far out, you might feel it. And then your knees and your hips in line as well. Okay, with this one, you don't want like a curved spine. So like in yoga, cat-cow, right? We want to find that nice neutral middle point. Okay, keeping all of this in mind and keeping our T-zone core engaged, we're going to let the leg that you were just working, the one that's sore, you're going to let that go long behind you, nice and straight. Cool. We're going to take that leg and just lift it up and down. Be nice and slow, controlled movement. Pilates is a lot about control, so we're going to really think about the control of our muscles, our core. We're going to stay nice and stable if we can. Good. And again, don't think about height. You don't have to worry about how high your leg is getting. Good. Alright, we're going to take it up a notch. If you want to stick with these, you so can. We're going to add in the opposite arm extending as well. So, just find the balance on your, I think everyone should do the same, but I don't think so. Okay, left hand and right knee, is that on the floor? Is that correct for everyone? Maybe not. Okay, opposite arm is going to be long, and we're going to go for a lift of both the arm and the leg, and then just tap the fingers and the toes on the floor. How are we going? Feel it? Make sure you have the balance first before you move. And like I said, you can just move the leg or just move the arm if you like. You can take a different option.
Crazy how simple the action
Simple
is,
movements
but
are,
it's
yeah.
so like,
So challenging. Well done. One more. You're doing great. Woohoo. Nice. Good job. Okay. Child's pose. Have a little rest. The best part. Good job. Doing great, man. Okay, so let's make our way onto the other side. So we're now going to face the kitchen. So lying on your side, and we're going to go through those movements again. So, on the other side. So this one isn't burning yet. So just reminding you about your alignment grab the hip, draw it down towards your feet to slightly lift that side off the floor. Okay, and then when you've got all that, then we can start to lift and lower your top leg up and down. Remember the kebab thing. Stick going through both hips. Make sure your chest isn't flaring too far forward. There's so many things to think about here that it's okay if you forget things. Don't stress. As long as you're feeling it in the right spots, which I think you guys all are, that's the main thing. Good job, guys. Woo! Can we go for another 2? Great. Don't even need to adjust anyone. Well done. Okay, once you've done that, get a super big rest. We're going to remember the two little tiny circles that we were drawing. Yeah, we're going to do those next. Here we go. Ready? So lifting the leg, hold it in that spot. We've got the tiny little circles. Nice. Good. Amazing work. You can probably feel that isolated into the glute med, probably. Oh yeah, reverse the circle, other way. Good job, you can do it. Try and keep it at that same level. You're doing well. So much for breathing, just checking. Good job. Good to remind people to breathe every now and then. Good, okay, relax all the way down. I'm just gonna, maybe if you can shuffle like so that you don't kick the person next to you. Maybe just further towards the wall or something. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. So, here we're gonna lift that top leg. And we have our very slow and controlled sweep forward. Flex the foot, draw the heel back. Yeah, you got it. Well done. Nice self-adjustment there. Good job, Angel. Beautiful control. You got it. So good, you guys. Can we do just like 2 more going forward and back? Keep that control. Is your core still on? Just slightly on. Yes, nice. Good. Okay, you can relax down. Well done. Quick little baby. You wanna? People like do this. They like kick their bum. They're like yes. Literally. Yeah. Okay, let's make our way onto all fours, and the leg that that's probably sore right now. That one we're gonna use. So here we go. So in your all fours, can you just check your alignment? Is my wrists and shoulders in line? Are my knees and hips in line? Yep, nice. And then we have the leg that was just a bit sore just now. Extending that one long. Remember to keep the knee facing the ground here, so we don't want to open it out to the side. We've got to lift and lower up that leg. This one, what do you think about? You might even want to flex the foot for this reason. You want to feel it in the back of the leg, which is our hamstring muscle. And the way that you feel that is keeping the hips like level. Yeah,
that's my problem.
No, yeah, you're good. You got it. Yeah, kind of just like sinking with the hip. Yeah, like that. Got it. Nice, that's nice. Okay, if you want to, again, you don't have to, but you can add in the opposite arm and rest at any point in time. Here we go. Lift and lower. If you want that challenge, it's a bit of a balancing act, so that means that your core needs to stay engaged. Woohoo! Let's go. Well done.
That's my knee.
Oh, it's me. That'll be
It's like
good.
the impact on the ground.
Yeah, of course.
The guts are hard.
Yeah, like a little pattern.
I think I fold
But
it.
it should just go on. Yeah, yeah.
I'm probably too far up from that now, but
That's okay.
yeah, that's better.
Yeah, good, nice. Alright, let's just do one more and then we're all done with this little exercise. Good job! Okay, you can have enjoy a little rest of your choice. You can do a child's pose, you can come with your back, your knees a hug, you can have a drink, whatever you like. You want it. We've only got a little bit left to go, you guys. I think I said at the start that we're done. Oh yeah. I think I said that we're done with core at the start, but we've just got one hand to do it. Sorry.
It's good, it needs it. I've got the COVID curse.
with bent legs. Okay. We're going to go back to this same tabletop position with your knees and hips in line and your knees and feet in line. You're going to go for an extension, which is straightening one leg at a time. So you're going to like, it's kind of like you end up going for like a bicycle ride. So you're like stretching one leg long, and again, it doesn't matter what you're doing with your feet. I'm like a ballerina, so I usually put my feet, you don't have to do that. So that knees and hips in line, I'm just going to check. Remove whatever you need, that area, move the knee and hips in line. So keep it there, and then go from that point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah? And you can do that, yeah. So don't bring it so close to your chest, like that, so there. Yeah, go from there. Extend. Extend. Yes, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it, you got it. Ooh. Nice. Okay. Hug your knees, have a quick little rest. We'll make it a tiny little bit harder. We're going to go from, this is adding a little bit more load, and again, you can choose to do this bent one again, right? We're going to try straight legs, and they don't have to be dead straight, they can be a little bit bent. We're going to go for single leg lowers.
Arms.
Woo! One leg down at a time. We've got our arms. Pardon? Oh yeah, so you can put your hands underneath your hips.
So
like
just
that.
supporting, right? And then you can tuck in your core.
How's that feel? Feel better with the hands on the hips? If you want to try that, you can. Is everyone still thinking about the T-zone? Yeah? So think about the core set tightening as you exhale. Remember to exhale as you move your leg. Inhale when they're together. You got it. Here we go. One last time. One more leg to go. Woo! Hug the legs. Nice.
Oh my God.
Good job. Doing great. Okay, we're going to come back to the bent leg ones. And again, like I said, these are progressions, so they're getting harder and harder, but you don't have to take them, you can take the easier one. Do you remember how we were going for one leg in, right? We're going to try, and you don't have to, we're going to go for both legs long, both legs in, both bent to come back in. So inhale when they're in the tabletop. Exhale, draw the legs away from you, nice and straight, good. Bring it back in. Take an inhale to reset. Exhale to move. Yes, you got this. How are we going? And you don't have to have them like dead straight in front of you. They can be a little bit like at the diagonal. Great job. And if it helps for your hands under your hips, you can totally do that. Like, one more of these. Love the breathing. Well done. Okay, hug your knees. Well done. And then I've got one last challenge for you. If you want to take it, you don't have to. But earlier we did curl ups, so you've already done the prep for this. So what we're going to do, and you might hit the people around you, let's hope we don't. So we have knees into our chest. We're going to hug them like we were doing before when we were stretching. We're going to then, and like I said, if this is too hard for you, you can stick with these with the single leg extensions, okay? If this is too hard. Head and shoulders are going to be off the floor, you're like a little ball, okay? Then we're going to extend the legs long where they were before and reach your arms out, but without the head and shoulders coming to the floor. We're going to dish. Then we're going to circle the arms, hug. Yes, so extend the legs, extend the arms, circle the arms, hug. Yes! Big extension.
All during the core?
Yes.
Okay, so activate the T.
Activate the T-zone, yes. We've got an inhale to bring it in, exhale to dish. Inhale to bring it in, exhale, extend. Yes, you guys are smashing this. Yee-hoo! Can we do 2 more in total, and then that's where we're going to finish? Whoop, whoop. Nice, so good. Well done. Enjoy a nice little rest. Maybe you want to take like arms above the head, ripping open of the belly. You can stretch your legs out long. You hug them in. Oh yeah. Well done. Smash that. Well done, you guys. Okay, well we're going to finish with a couple of stretches and then finito, that's it. Okay, let's go for, while we're all laying here, we'll stay here, hey? Alright, let's go for a spinal twist stretch. So we're just going to take our hips, just draw them over to the left side of your mat. And then we're going to, let's go all the same way. So let's all go towards the kitchen. Hips towards the kitchen. And then take your knees towards the window. Cool. And then you just want to try and keep your shoulders on the floor. You can like put your arms wherever's comfortable. You can keep the legs like stacked on top of each other. You can separate them. You can put the hand, like opposite hand on the leg for a little extra stretch of the glute there. You can even look like towards the kitchen for a little extra stretch of the spine. See if you can kind of like collapse the belly a little bit. You don't want to hold too much tension there. Beautiful. Alright, slowly bring your knees back into the center, and we're just going to use the feet on the floor so that you can shuffle your hips across the window. And then you're going to knock your knees over to the kitchen side, and then again you can choose whatever type of spinal twist you prefer, whether the legs are stacked or separated. Ooh. That's okay. That's okay. I'll turn it off. It's just a random number. Okay. Alright, let's bring it back. We're going to make our way just up. Let's come to just hands and knees momentarily. We're going to come into a pigeon stretch. So from the all fours, and yeah, you guys probably would have done this yoga. So your knee comes to your wrist. You kind of like pull the foot through. Yeah. And you've got two options here. So you've got the like back leg nice and straight and long. Or, if you need to, you can sit down the hip on the side and bend the back knee, okay? And if you want to come down to your elbows, you so can, or you can stay up on your hands. Probably a nice one for that glute, both of those glute muscles that we were working today. Enjoy it. Making your way back onto your hands if you're on your elbows. See if you can like just lift yourself up enough so that you can slide your knee in, and then you're just gonna like reset to the all fours, and then your other foot can come through, knee to wrist. If you want to make this stretch a bit like more intense, you can bring your foot further to the front of your mat. And again, you've got that modification of sitting the hip down and bending the back knee. Beautiful. See if you can like kind of notice if you're holding heaps of tension somewhere, and maybe just relaxing the muscles there. Let's make our way back up onto your hands. You can just sit down onto the hip, and then you can bring your back leg, just bring it forward. Let's just come into like a seated position. You can just face to the front. Come into just a comfortable seated position, wherever that may be for you. Let's go for a nice side stretch over. See if you can like sit down the hip on the opposite side and really lengthen out the side body. Alright, and then slowly bring it over to the other side. Beautiful, bring it back. We're going to take some like seated cat-cows. So you can just pop your hands on your knees. Basically we're going to like curve the spine, like curving inwards, like collapsing the belly. You can really get a nice stretch of the shoulder blades here. You know, we do exercises of squeezing the shoulder blades together, kind of drawing them apart now. And then you bring your chest forward, so you draw your shoulders down, open the collarbones. Maybe not look all the way up to the ceiling, but like up to the diagonal. Let's just take a few of these in your own timing. Maybe you want to try and connect them with your breath like we were before. So, or maybe like an exhale to curve, inhale to come forward. Whatever you prefer. Alright, just finishing whatever one you're on. And then just making your way to like a neutral spine. And we're just going to finish with a few little stretches of the neck. So we're going to go for just like a side to side. So we're going to start on this side. I want you to think, instead of just drawing your ear like down towards your shoulder, I want you to think about this ear instead. So we've got this ear reaching to the ceiling. So your head is tilted to the side, but we're really lengthening all of those neck muscles, upper trapezius all the way down. So if you can make sure your jaw isn't too clenched. You do a little bit of like movement to kind of find the sweet spot. Nice. And then when you're ready, you can release it back to the neutral. And then we'll do it on the other side, so just take it over. Thinking about this ear that's pointing to the ceiling and lifting up. Lengthening, make sure the shoulder's nice and soft down. Coming back through, and then we're just going to do a look down and up. So the first one we'll look down. Think about like the very base of your skull lifting up to the ceiling instead of chin to chest, right? So we are putting our chin down, but you're thinking about the base of your skull lifting up. Shoulders down. Alright, bringing the head back to the neutral. Let's take our hands just to our chest so that when we look up, we're not like flaring our chest forward. We want to keep it in the neutral position as we lift the chin, so we can really get a nice stretch all the way through the front of the neck there. Again, make sure the jaw isn't too clenched. Alright, bring it back to neutral. Let's just do a very gentle circle going all